Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. Today on the show, I interview Venezuelan-American painter and video creator Lala Drona. She was born in Denver, Colorado, but moved to Paris 9 years ago. We chat about what it's like to be an artist in Paris, how her work has changed over the years, and how she's empowering women to love their bodies. So welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Happy to be here.
I was very happy when you reached out. And also I'm obsessed with the name Lala Drona. Like, it's just so fun. We were talking about before the record button. Like, it's just like vibrant. And you have like a Venezuelan-American background. Is that why you chose that name?
Yeah, exactly. So my mom's from Venezuela and my dad is from the United States. And yeah, so Lala Drona comes from the word the thief in Spanish, and you pronounce it La Ladrona.
Okay. Oh, I like that. It's so much more beautiful with like a little Venezuelan accent going on. But you are now in Paris, and I want to know your Paris story. How long have you been here? What brought you here? How's it going here? Like, tell me what it's like to be an artist in Paris.
Wow. Well, what is it to be? Well, I'll tell you first how I got here. Well, I came here for my art. I came here about 9 years ago. So I've lived in Paris for 9 years. So what happened was I grew up in Colorado. In Denver. I went to the University of Colorado there. And so while I was there, I was like, okay, I'm going to study creative writing. I studied it. And that's also, I'm very, very much inspired by storytelling and whatnot, but we can get into that a little bit later. So what happened was I told myself, okay, well, I'm an artist. I'm a painter. I like to draw. So where do I want to go? And I said, okay, New York, that's where all the artists go. But then I thought, okay, but while you're in New York, whoever's in New York, where do they want to go? Where do the artists in New York want to go? And I thought, Paris.
I like that you just jumped the gun on that. You're like, okay, let me just skip over New York and go straight to Paris.
Yeah, definitely. And I never looked back. It was really difficult at first here, but I really, really love it now.
So as an artist in Paris, I know a lot of times like the government supports the arts here and they help you like financially in studio. And was that your experience coming here, or were you just kind of plopped down? You're like, I'm a starving artist. Like, I need to make this work business wise.
Definitely the starving artist option. So when I first got here, I had to find a job. So I started teaching English part-time. And that's how I made ends meet. And I just decided to go straight for my art career. So I kind of networked my best when I first got here and landed my first solo show. And that was in the Marais, I believe. It was I'm trying to remember exactly the area. But anyway, so, and that one it was an amazing show. It was actually a show about the series of paintings called the Breast series. And what I did is I sat in front of my mirror and I painted my body over and over again in order to get over my own body insecurities and all that kind of stuff. And after that, I had the exhibition and showed it to everyone. And it was really beautiful because other people talked to me about their bodies, and we all shared about our insecurities and realized that all of those little insecurities or special or different things about our bodies are actually the things that we remember about other people that make us love them. And those are the things that make other people unique.
Oh, I like that. So by discovering the things that you didn't like about yourself, you embraced those things that you liked about other people. Like you wish you had the curly hair, you wish you had bigger boobs or smaller boobs or whatever. Like that is what made you kind of like open up to other people.
So, I mean, I'll take us back a little bit. Like, the reason I did the breast series is because I was born with a deformity,
Hmm.
and so this deformity, more or less, I wouldn't even say it's a deformity. It's just like a non-formation. It's called
Yeah.
a breast agenesis, and this means that one breast grows and the other breast doesn't grow at all.
Hmm.
And so I had reconstructive surgery at a young age. I was always fighting over this whole body image thing and keeping that secret for myself. And it was in that exhibition that I came out about all of that to everybody, and
Hmm.
the reception of it was beautiful. And I think it was other people who saw me accepting my body that made them feel comfortable with talking about, I don't know, if they had a tail cut off when they were a baby,
Yeah.
or if they have like a strange mole or something like that. And
Yeah.
it was really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of these things are very taboo to talk about, and we just live with them, and then once we start actually chatting about them, we all realize, we all have issues with our bodies. Like I've never met a woman that was like, I love everything about myself, which is sad. Like I wish they would say that more, but that's just not the reality. And I think it's important that you started this conversation about these insecurities.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a really powerful journey.
And so tell me about how your work has changed since then. I mean, you paint, you create videos, you're mixing mediums. How have you transitioned in these last years?
So over the years, I guess I obviously very influenced by my own body and my own experience growing up with my sort of body. I have become very, I would say, feminist, or leaning towards women's rights, and thinking about the treatment of women in society. So a lot of my art is based on women. And right now, more, I think where I went is right now, most of my work is under women in the digital world.
Hmm.
So I look at the treatment of women online, or how women interact online. But that is also extended into just the entire online world, and thinking about the online world or the virtual world as an alternate reality. And then even alternate realities have brought me towards like dreams, like just thinking about all types of different types of realities that we are constantly juggling every day as if it's completely natural.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially with this last year with the pandemic and everything, people are talking about like this mass awakening, and then you're kind of diving into these deeper sections of that as well. I mean, it's all connected and fascinating, and all these realities and which one are we in, and time and space and blah, blah, blah. But I want to go back to what you said about, online, like creating these spaces online and talking about online life. Like, how do you feel about social media? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's good for artists? Is it helping you? How do you feel about it?
So I'll say that well, first of all, I think that any technology is a tool, and
Hmm.
it's just, is the tool in the right hands or is it not? I think I I lean towards I like it, and I think it's a great tool. Social media, as far as the internet in general, it's a great thing to build community. And I think there's so many people I would have never met or found or been able to connect with around some of the topics I'm interested in if it weren't for the
Hmm.
internet.
Yeah, it's
Um,
people you wouldn't normally find.
yeah, exactly. Like this conversation would probably never be happening.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
and your work is exploring a lot the transitions between the virtual and the real. Can you talk a little bit about that?
yeah, so this is when my inner, I guess, critique or like criticism comes in of the internet. But yeah, so I look at the transitions between the virtual and the real, and so that means like how can perhaps the online world also influence the real world and vice versa. And so, for example, I have a one painting called "Speak and Listen." And it's these two, it's a grayscale painting, and it's surrealist, and it's these two body forms almost kind of pulling at each other. And one is trying to pull at the ears and the other one at the mouth, because it's who's going to speak, who's going to listen. And I feel like that's the internet today, especially in public forums.
Hmm.
Everyone just wants to talk, 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 but nobody really listens. And I wonder if this type of behavior is also kind of spilling over into our real world interactions as well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, the internet as we know it today is relatively new. It's like, when they were using lead paint, they're like, oh, that was killing us. They were wondering about the internet in the same way. Like, what are they going to say down the road about what that was doing to our brains?
Oh man, already they're saying so many horrible things, especially I guess for young girls.
It's really sad. I feel like the most for like teenage girls, because I remember being a teenage girl in the early, 90s, 2000s, and it was hard then. I can't imagine with online bullying and even more like comparing yourself constantly to Snapchats and Instagrams and whatever. It just really must do a lot to their brains.
Yeah, exactly. And I sometimes I try to imagine what it's like, staying at home at night and then seeing all of your friends at a party in their stories, and you know that you weren't invited. That would be
Yeah,
horrible.
it's gotta be. Yeah. I mean, hopefully they can start doing more research on this stuff and protect the children.
Yeah, at least like us, I don't know, at least like we were able to be in the moment and be like, okay, yeah, maybe they're at a party, but right now I'm reading this magazine and it's pretty great.
Yeah, and you didn't see anything to really compare.
Exactly.
And what do you hope to do with your art?
What do I hope to do? Well, I mean, so many things I hope to do with my art. I would like to inspire other artists. I would like to raise awareness on, the treatment of women and people in general online. And I would also thinking very, very big, I would like to somehow contribute to increasing the status of women artists in the market
Mhm.
itself.
Oh, yeah, and just being an artist in general as a female.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And yeah, and also just I would also like to help people accept their bodies and also see their bodies as almost a tool as well. I mean, and love that tool, but it doesn't really matter what it looks like or its shapes or its texture. Of course, take care of it, be healthy, and wear sunscreen and all that. But
Very important. And talk a little bit about being a female artist in Paris. Like there's been a big movement lately. I'm sure you've seen the women posting the flyers all over Paris about femicide, and women in general there's been videos surfacing of women getting punched or whatever, sexual harassment. Like, how do you feel about that as a woman living in France? Do you feel like it is a sexist country? Do you feel like we have issues with this stuff, like more so than maybe the States, or it's the same? What are your thoughts on that?
well, I don't think it's less necessarily, but I wouldn't have the data to say if it were more. I think it's also really difficult in France to get data on that sort of stuff. Like you can get
Mhm.
it on femicide, like if someone's killed, because that's a different data set, but on specifically, I guess, women versus men, I don't know if we're allowed, I don't think we're allowed to do that here in France. I think it's illegal to,
Mhm.
like, it's prejudice or whatever. So I think that's one issue I think is a huge issue in France where they're going to have to eventually confront that. Getting data on race and gender bias, I think would be a big step forward. But I do love being here and seeing this because I think every country kind of has a different feminism. And I think it is really interesting to be in France and see all these like stick ups, about violence on women or all these signs. And the Women's March is huge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see how they are reacting. And, because France is the place of protests, but I've been here for 10 years and this is the first time I'm really noticing like this huge women's movement, like really sticking up about this stuff, and the flyers in the metro, call this number if you're sexually harassed or whatever. I don't know if anyone's answering that number, but at least they're addressing these things finally.
Yeah. I heard the controversy of the government trying to delete that number.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't even very much long ago. They tried they were trying to say, okay, we don't need this number anymore. And I guess some feminist groups fought back, and now they've conserved the number.
Oh, good. I mean, that's so funny. They're like, yeah, that problem is solved. We don't need that number anymore. Good luck. And how has Paris influenced your work?
Oh wow, Paris. I feel like Paris is my biggest inspiration, but not in the beautiful, like a dreamy, I don't know, Eiffel Tower type of way. It's I see the real Paris. And for me, when I got here, Paris was like a gray, dark, loud place.
Yeah.
And so that inspired, also the way that people think inspired me. So in at least where I was from in the United States, people think very much in binaries, and it's everything is very extreme, and you have to make a decision and things like that. And in Paris, it's a lot more nuanced, and there's a lot of philosophy, and they talk about, okay, yeah, maybe that's wrong, but what if this, and there's a lot more nuance to things. And so this is what inspired me using I guess we can't call it a color, but gray, like grayscale in my work, was Paris, and learning about all of those nuances and not really being in those extremes anymore.
Yeah, I completely agree that they like a debate here. They like to just conversate, and there isn't so much anger. I feel like sometimes in the States, like people get really angry when you start debating about topics, and here it's like, well, let's just talk about it over a glass of wine, like, and that's kind of fun, to just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be I'm wrong or you're right or whatever.
Exactly. That's been my experience as well. Of course, I'm sure that, these are generalizations. We live in our own bubbles too,
Of course.
but definitely in the bubbles I've lived in, yeah, it's a lot like that.
More conversations happening. And you recently bought your own atelier. Congratulations. That's so exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really happy about it. It's been a bucket list check thing that I've been wanting to do.
How was that process? So for those of you listening, if you don't know what an atelier is, it's basically an artist studio. And many artists in Paris, they share studio spaces, and a lot of times provided by the government or funded. But you have your own space now. Like, how did that work? Was it difficult to find your own studio? And how do you feel having it now?
So I feel great. As we were talking about before, I have shared spaces with other artists before in these like big kind of artist laboratories or artist factories. Yeah. And it's a beautiful experience, but it's also not always the most conducive to creating either, because there could be drama, there could be mess, there could be all kinds of stuff, but it's also very inspirational and beautiful. But I do need my own space. That's for sure. I need quiet, and I need my own bubble. And it's been amazing. I guess I've had it now for about, I want to say 5 months. So it's still pretty new. I've bought all my equipment and everything. So I'm just like the last 3 months, I'm really starting to get into the work again. And it's really nice. I'm going to be able to do something large format. So I'm very excited about that. But it actually wasn't too hard to find. I think I'm just very lucky. I don't know. I was very lucky. I found a place it's right outside of Paris. It's a 10-minute train ride outside of Paris. So it's very close. And and so I just think it's a little town that not a lot of people know about. And that's why.
That's perfect. That's the kind of spaces you want to find, just somewhere you can retreat. And I know this comes up a lot with my guests. They say you kind of have to be bored to create. Like, you need some space to do nothing. Like, would you agree with that? Do you feel like you just need to be like hanging out to find the inspiration?
Yeah, there's certain beautiful things that only happen when you're alone. Like, recently I just went on vacation by myself, because, and it was on purpose. I took a few days because, and there was some sort of awakening that happened when I was alone, and it was cathartic. It was great.
I think that's such a great thing about Paris too, is that you can be alone and it's not weird. Like, you can go to dinner alone, you can like have a drink alone, and it's not seen as such like a weirdo thing to do. I almost feel like walking around here alone is so much better than with a group of people or anybody, because then you really look at the things.
Exactly. And especially here, the roads are so small that you end up walking in a line anyway.
Yeah. Kind of hard to chat when you're constantly dodging other humans.
Exactly.
And how would you define creativity?
Creativity. Well, I think there's two parts. For me, creativity is the ability to make connections. So I guess I'm constantly doing that when I have a message that I want to say, and then I find a way through image in order to express that to the viewer and just cross fingers and hope that it'll get there.
I like that.
But
And
go ahead. Sorry.
no, like, do some people, like, they're just like, I don't get it or whatever, like, do you feel really good when people are saying the things that you were hoping to convey when they look at your work?
I feel, I think the same amount of happiness, even if they're wrong, because I think that that's what art is. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just in the end, it's the relationship with the viewer. So hearing what they interpret it as already starts, it's like a launching point for a conversation, and it's cool to just be let into somebody's world for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. To be on their radar.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think that creatives are attracted to Paris?
I think there's probably the history. So all, the greats who have come to Paris and all that. And I think, at least for me, well, I think the reason I came was because I've always felt different, like a lot of artists do. And so I think living abroad, it makes you feel you're different, but it's normal that you're different. Not like, oh, you're different and you're supposed to be the same as everyone else, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's really nice. And I think it's hugely conducive to art as well, because I feel like you have a lot more control over your time and your community when you choose to live somewhere new, I guess.
I think that's so true. It's funny you say that because, back in the States, you can kind of feel like the odd one out. But when you move to a foreign country, it's like, oh, yeah, you are the odd one out. And you're like, okay, I was before, and now this is like normal for me to be because I am a foreigner. So that makes complete sense. I like that.
Exactly. And then all the other foreigners that you meet, it's like you're just meeting all these other odd one outs, and you're like, okay, we get each other.
Yeah, we're all odd, and we're in this odd place together where we're not supposed to be really by our life. So I like that. Exactly. And what about storytelling? So you mentioned that with your art, you're doing a lot of storytelling. So what are the stories you're telling right now with your work?
So right now, I decided right now I'm doing a piece, something that I never thought I would have done in my life, but I'm doing a piece where it's half my face, so half Lala Drona, and then half Britney Spears' face.
Oh, fun!
But I
love Britney, free Britney.
But I don't know my teenager self, because I was a punk rocker, like I don't know. This is just not something I would have imagined myself doing, and yeah, there's the whole free Britney movement and all that stuff. But I think it's also, as millennials, we're getting older, we're able to look back at our references, like our formative, female or women references who have kind of made us who we are. And so I have this one image where, where she shaved her head and the paparazzi's chasing her, and then me shaving my head because I've done that in a performance video. And yeah, and I think that Britney Spears was very formative to girls growing up. Maybe not all girls, but to certain girls.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
She was well known. Yeah, she was very well known, and she influenced a lot of girls growing up. And to watch what's going on is kind of sad now, and I think it's interesting if you can bring some kind of art aspect to that.
Yeah, exactly. And whether you were a fan of her or not, it's just having seen those images and hearing those stories growing up, I think will teach us what women's roles are in society, or what we should want and how we should get attention.
And whenever you create these videos or paintings, do you give your audience like, okay, this is what it's about? Or do you just completely put it out there and then they can interpret it however they want? Or are you like, this is about the women's movement, this is feminism? Like, do you give them some hints?
So if I'm going to show, like, let's say it's a solo exhibition, I'll usually have a statement at the beginning, and the statement won't say exactly this equals that. It'll just more talk about the themes that inspired the paintings. And then while I'm in the exhibition, and let's say it's the opening, then I'll talk to the people who come, and I'll hear what their interpretation is. And then if they ask me, I'll tell them mine. But I usually don't just come up and tell somebody what it means. I'll usually ask a question first, and if they want me to tell them, I'll tell them.
And is it difficult to find exhibition spaces to launch your solo exhibitions? Like you've been here for quite some time. I'm sure you've networked as an artist. Do you have any advice for other artists here as far as that goes, like finding a space and networking? Like, how did you do that?
I think it's getting to know other artists in the community, and just being around them. But also, I feel like that's where the internet comes in too. Let's say that you like art, or you have a specific message in your art or topics, things like that. You can reach out to people even if they're not artists. They could be journalists, or they could be in academia, and maybe they're into that topic as well. And I just think it's a great place to just start meeting people on the internet around topics you're interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting those conversations.
Yeah. And eventually they remember you, or they know somebody, and sometimes things come to you. But I think in Paris, a lot of times it's a lot easier to find something in a collective exhibition than it is a solo exhibition.
So working with other artists and finding a space and all putting it together.
Yeah, exactly. And those are usually the most fun, I think. Yeah, they do your head in as well, but I think artist run projects are always the best because we have our own interests in mind.
Yeah, I agree. It's always fun to see the joint exhibitions. And what would you say to people that are searching for their creative talents and they don't feel like they're very creative or artistic? What would you say to them to help them find what they're good at?
Well, I think if it's something like you're blocked, I would say just decide on something and just kind of do it. I know whenever I'm blocked, sometimes it's just, okay, just make something. That's it. It doesn't have to be good. It could be ugly. Ugly art is cool too. But if it's about self-confidence or whatnot, I guess it still goes with just make something. But I think I'm also very biased because I use my art as some sort of escape, but also it's almost spiritual to me. So if somebody could find their meditation in art or find some sort of catharsis through art, I think that's the best way to experience it. But I don't know if that's, level 1 or not.
Yeah, it's like, how high do you have to go? When you say that you found like a spiritual awakening or help with art, what do you mean by that? That you feel like you're connecting with yourself with a deeper purpose? You feel like you're meditating in some ways?
Yeah, I definitely think I'm connecting to I have a deeper purpose. It's this feeling of I'm on the earth doing what I'm here to do, what I'm supposed to do. And it's also, there is something, I guess, since you're in the present and you're there, for example, with the canvas, I almost feel like I'm having this intimate moment with the canvas. I'm putting my brush on it. I'm also touching the sides. I'm securing it. I'm always standing up. So I go in and I go out. It's almost like a dance. And it's just, it can be a very beautiful experience.
And you're completely in the moment, as you said, which is hard to do for most of us at any point in the given day. But when you're creating, when you're painting, when you're sculpting, when you're writing, you have to be completely in the moment.
Totally. But at the same time, sometimes something that helps is listening to something too, not necessarily music, but it could be, I don't know, it could even be like trash TV, or it could be a podcast, just something that doesn't take too much of your visual. Like your visual attention. But I don't know. I think there's something about kind of, I guess, or occupying one side of the brain, and then it lets the other side of the brain be creative.
Oh, I like that. Kind of like distracting your ego or something.
Yeah, there's something that happens there.
It's like, look over here. So like my soul can create.
Look over there.
Yeah, don't pay attention. And what's the best advice that you've been given?
Oh, I don't know. I just had my mom's voice just pop into my head. She said she always said, if you don't have flowers, smell a tomato. And I love it because I don't even think it's not a proverb or anything like that, from Venezuelan culture or anything. I think she just said it because it was a way of saying, okay, if maybe you don't have everything that you want, but look at what you have and enjoy it, and also desire it and appreciate it and find the beauty in it.
I like that. That's great advice, Mom.
Yeah.
We love moms. And what are you most excited about for your future work?
I'm most excited about right now, I'm working on a documentary. And the documentary is about my breast agenesis experience and how it has influenced my art. And that'll be out in, I don't know, maybe like 2 more years or so. So it's nothing close, but
work in progress.
Exactly. It's a work in progress right now. So that's what I'm absolutely most excited about.
And do you love your body now?
Yes, I definitely do. I love my body. I love it because it's me and it's what I have, and it's brought me to all these wonderful countries and all these wonderful places, and have brought me to all these wonderful people. So that's also why I love it.
We got to tell more girls about that. Love yourselves, ladies.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait to see what you'll come up with next and to see the documentary. And that sounds fascinating. I mean, I don't know anything about that, so I'd be interested to learn more. And I love how you're inspiring other people with insecurities, because we all have them. So let's talk about, let's make a documentary, let's do the things.
Yeah.
And where can people connect with you online?
So online, my website is www.laladrona.com, or it's easiest to get in contact with me through Instagram, and that's at Dronalala, so at DRONALALA.
That's such a fun handle. I'm so glad it was available.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks so much for chatting with me today, and I look forward to seeing what you'll do next.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.